Question, real estate in California. What the Seriously, can someone help? What's an escrow? What's an ARM? What is an REO? What is pre-approval? Can I get pre-approval? Why is inventory so low? Why are interest rates so high? Oh, interest rates not so high? How low is low? How not so high is right.
Before you go down the road of questions, get expert help at championsofhome.com. California Association of Realtors. Who's your realtor?
You know what it is. That's right. It's time to talk money with your money nerd and financial coach. Now, tighten those purse strings and open those ears. It's the Money Talk with Tiff podcast.
Welcome back to Tiffany's Take on the Money Talk with Tiff podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Grant. And at this point in our series, we've talked about reviewing your progress, recovering from setbacks, and making adjustments. If you haven't listened to the last couple of episodes, definitely do so. I highly recommend going back to the beginning of April when we started the Stewardship series and kind of catching up from there. But if not, you can always start from here too. And if you have any questions that you want me to answer on the podcast, go to moneytalkwitht.com/ask Tiffany, and you'll hear it on a future episode. But going back to what we were talking about, there's something that I learned the hard way. Stewardship was never meant to be a solo sport. Today, we're talking about your stewardship circle, your board of directors, which you've heard me talk about on the podcast before. The specific people that you need around you to actually sustain financial growth over the long haul, not just find an accountability partner. That's too vague. I want to give you a framework for the roles that need to be filled in your life. Now, most of us approach money like a private shame. We hide the debt, we exaggerate the success, we smile through the struggle, or we go in the opposite direction and we broadcast every win and loss to anyone who'll listen, looking for validation that never quite satisfies. I'm here to tell you that neither one of those approaches work. Stewardship requires both honesty and boundaries. You need people who know the real numbers, but not everybody needs to know everything. The question is who and for what purpose? So here are 4 roles that I think every person needs in their stewardship circle. You might have one person filling multiple roles or multiple people in one role. The point is intentionality, not leaving your growth to chance. We want to do this in a structured way so that way we can continue going even when things get rough. So let's go through the roles real quick. Role number 1, the truth teller. This is the person who keeps it real with you. They will look at your budget and tell you that $200 miscellaneous, and I'm doing air quotes over here, category is actually a leak, not a mystery. The one who asks, do you really need that, without making you feel small. The truth teller isn't cruel, but they're clear, and you have to give them permission to be. For me, this is often my strategic associate. These are people who know the business, know the goals, and aren't impressed by my titles or my podcast download numbers. They see the behind the scenes. And so they can be the truth teller. Like, hey, Tiffany, why are we doing this when we should be doing this? This was what gave us results before. So why aren't we doing it? Or keeping me focused and on track. So you need that type of person in your corner, or those people in your corner. You need the truth teller. Role number 2, the encourager. So this is different from the truth teller. This is the person who reminds you who you are when the review was rough. When you feel like you'll never get ahead, they remember the progress that you've already made, and they celebrate the $50 saved with you, not just the $5,000 goal. I need this because my brain goes straight to what's next and forgets to acknowledge what's already happened. I am notorious for not celebrating myself. I just do the work and I keep pushing. And I've had a few people in my life. I have a few people in my life that tell me, hey, Tiffany, you need to celebrate that. Hey, Tiffany, you need to acknowledge what just happened. So your encourager keeps you in the game emotionally. They ground you back to, well, look how far you have come. And let's be happy about that. So role number 2, you need the encourager.
Question: real estate in California. What the Seriously, can someone help? What's an escrow? What's an ARM? What is an REO? What is pre-approval? Can I get pre-approval? Why is inventory so low? Why are interest rates so high? Oh, interest rates not so high? How low is low? How not so high is right?
Before you go down the road of questions, get expert help at championsofhome.com. California Association of Realtors. Who's your realtor?
Role number 3, you need the model. So this is not a mentor. This is someone slightly ahead of you on a similar path. So someone who did what you're trying to do recently enough that they remember the specifics. The model shows you it's possible, shares the practical steps, and then warns you about the traps. When I was cutting my overhead, I had friends who had done similar pivots. They told me about the software that actually mattered, the clients to keep versus who to release, the emotional adjustment of downsizing. Their recent experience was more valuable than a CEO who'd never operated lean before. So you need a model in your corner. And like I said, it doesn't have to be one. It could be multiple people, but you need that role in your life. Role number 4 is the learner. So this is the person you're teaching. So just like you're following somebody, you have somebody behind you that you're teaching. So think of it kind of like a train. You have someone in the front, you have you, and then you also have someone behind you that's learning from you. So I know this seems counterintuitive, but stewardship involves passing it on. When you explain your system to someone else, you clarify it for yourself. When they ask why, you have to know the answer. So that's why I say you should always be teaching someone along, because the learner will bring up spots where you may not have seen or your directions wasn't clear, and you can refine that. Plus, the learner also keeps you humble. You can't fake expertise with someone who's watching you do the work, and their fresh eyes, like I said, often spot stuff that you've normalized in your day-to-day. So role number 4 that you need the learner. So I'll be transparent. My circle has shifted dramatically since I moved to Jamaica and since Paul, my son, was born. Some relationships faded naturally. Others I had to intentionally cultivate. We're not calling it cutting them off. We're intentionally cultivating what our life should look like. My WhatsApp threads with my project manager are business critical. Even though we're not digital first, we make it work with voice notes and structured lists. When I say that's somebody that I talk to practically every day for my construction business, literally every day, but it's business critical. What didn't work was trying to do it on myself or trying to make one person fill every role. I had one person that's a great encourager, but they're not my model for digital marketing strategy. I have a brilliant strategic partner, but that's not the one reminding me to rest on Sunday. So it's different roles with different people. And I feel like a lot of times we get disappointed in people because we have them in the wrong role. So make sure you know what role you're putting people into, and it's a role that fits what their capacity is and what they should be doing for you. So here's the stewardship principle. God designed us for community, not just for emotional support, for practical collaboration. Your financial growth is connected to the quality of your relationships. You remember when we talked about the circle of 5, not in a networking for deals way, in an iron sharpens iron way. The question isn't, do I have friends? It's, do I have the right people speaking into this specific area of my life? If everyone in your circle is struggling with the same money patterns you are, where's the path forward? You need someone who's already walked it. So here's your homework, because we always leave with homework. I want you to identify the 4 roles in your life right now. Who's your truth teller? Who's your encourager? Who's your model? Who's your learner? And if you have gaps, that's your next stewardship task. Not finding more information, but building better relationships. And if you're realizing that you need a model for the specific path you're on, whether that's building digital income streams, getting your foundation solid, or thinking like a CEO, go ahead and head over to moneytalkwitht.com/start, and the quiz will point you toward the right resources and community for where you are right now. In the next episode, we're wrapping this series with the question that started it all. What does stewardship actually look like when life gets full again? But until then, keep managing your money and your circle with purpose. Bye.
Thank you for listening, joining, and being a part of the Money Talk with Tiff podcast this week. You can check Tiff out every Thursday for a new Money Talk podcast. But if you just can't wait until next week, you can listen to previous podcast episodes at moneytalkwitht.com or follow Tiff on all social media platforms at Money Talk with T. Until next time, spend wise by spending less than you make. A word to the money wise is always sufficient.
Question: real estate in California. What the Seriously, can someone help? What's an escrow? What's an ARM? What is an REO? What is pre-approval? Can I get pre-approval? Why is inventory so low? Why are interest rates so high? Oh, interest rates not so high? How low is low? How not so high is right?
Before you go down the road of questions, get expert help at championsofhome.com. California Association of Realtors. Who's your realtor?